Hello guys, welcome to today's session. My name is Ken Moraguri. I'm a verbal trainer with the Kenya program GMAT training. So today we'll be looking at reading comprehension and specifically how to build a good passage map to help you with solving reading comprehension questions. So reading comprehension is all about your ability to extract correct information from the passage. This means that if you read a passage and you extract information, but it's not the correct information, you will have trouble with reading comprehension. And the problem is reading comprehension usually has 3 to 6 questions. So once you understand the passage in the wrong way, you'll probably end up missing some or all of these 3 or 6 questions. So extracting the correct information from the passage starts with building a sound passage map. So what's a passage map? So passage map is a short summary of the contents of the passage, and it extracts the main idea of a passage and maps out its different elements. That means after building a passage map, you should have the main idea of the passage, and then you should have an idea of where different information that is presented in the passage is. So whether it's in the first paragraph or the second paragraph, or where exactly it is. So why do we want to build a passage map? So first of all, and the most important, is extracting the main idea. So more than half of reading comprehension questions, they need a good knowledge of the main idea of a passage. So sometimes this question is asked that just directly. Which one of the following is the main idea of the passage, or which one of the following summarizes or gives what the author intended when they were writing this passage. And then apart from main idea questions, we also have detailed questions. So a passage map helps you accurately identify where the answers to these detailed questions are. So once you have a passage map, you have a rough idea where to get certain information. And then number 3, and also very important, it improves your understanding of the passage. And as we said, it's reading comprehension. So it helps you comprehend better. Okay, so with that said, let's learn how to build your passage map. So as we said, it's all about comprehension. So as you build your passage map, note or keep reminding yourself that the aim of this passage map is to help you understand this passage better. So first of all, you read and understand the first paragraph. This means do not skim over it. Do not read only the first and the last sentence, but read and understand the whole of the paragraph. So most of the time, this first paragraph introduces whatever subject matter of the passage is, and then gives a little bit more information. So, but just read the first paragraph, and then after you understand, summarize its main idea in a single sentence. And while we are saying this, note that reading and understanding doesn't mean reading maybe slowly or reading over and over again. So just do not move from a paragraph without understanding. And once you read this paragraph, just pause and ask yourself, what is this paragraph trying to tell me? And then summarize its main idea in a single sentence. So this single sentence should be more or less covering all the content of that paragraph. And then we repeat both steps for the second paragraph. So for now, we have one sentence, which is the summary of this first paragraph. And then now you have the second sentence, which is a summary of the main idea of the second paragraph. So after that, you try and connect the 2 main ideas. So you find the relevance of the second paragraph to the first. So because you know what the first paragraph is about, and now you know what the second paragraph is about, now you connect this information. Like, how does the first paragraph and the second paragraph relate? So notice that we are now kind of building up. So you have the first paragraph summary here, and then you have the second paragraph summary, and then you've connected these two. So you more or less know the full story behind these two paragraphs. And then do the same for the third paragraph. So you have the third paragraph there, your very, very short summary. Then you connect its information to the first two paragraphs. So this means that because you've already related the information in the first and second paragraph, now you relate the third paragraph to all this information as a whole, not one paragraph by one. So you relate the third paragraph to the information in the rest of the paragraphs. So once you do this, you will have your passage map, because whatever relation you extract will be the main idea or the author's train of thought. So once you do this, if say you are asked a certain question and you know what the second paragraph is about, you won't have now to skim over the entire of the passage to find where that specific information was. And remember that we are reading and understanding the paragraph. So there's nowhere that you're skimming over. You're just reading and understanding and trying to compress that information. So you will know exactly where to find whatever information to answer your detailed question also. Okay, so what to avoid? One, noting down everything. So this is a timed exam, so you can't really note down the entirety of a paragraph or note down whatever each sentence is saying. So you have to kind of think of the bigger picture. So make sure that at best you just write down one sentence, or if it's more than one sentence, make sure, like, say you write down your sentence and then maybe a sub point of a few words, like 2 or 3 words if you need that. But do not note down everything, because this time you're using to write down is time that you would use elsewhere, say to handle another question. And this being said, do not ignore the content outside your summary. So this distorts the context. Remember that your summary is just a summary. It doesn't contain every little thing that is in the paragraph. So even as you summarize, because this is the main idea, it doesn't mean that there is no other information in that paragraph. So do not ignore it. So this is just giving you an overview of the paragraph. It doesn't mean that all the other content is not important. And then the third thing to avoid is dwelling on difficult jargon or terminology. This means that you read a paragraph and then you find one word that is strange to you or new to you, or you've never encountered before. And now you start asking yourself, what does this word mean? I don't know the meaning of this word, so I want to understand what the passage is about. So do not do that. And the thing with this is you can just use context to your advantage. As long as you understand whatever the previous sentences or the next sentences say, you can just connect these two and you probably know the meaning of that word. So do not dwell on them, just understand their context and move on. So that was a simple way of building a passage map. And to hammer this home, we'll do one example. Then I'll show how to build a simple passage map. And we'll handle maybe 3 questions of the same passage to see how this passage map helps us handle these questions. So as usual, just pause the video, try out the question on your own, try to build your own passage map, and then we'll compare and see how your passage map is different from my passage map. Okay, so we have our first paragraph here, and I'll just do a quick read. So in the study of whether offering a guarantee of service qualities will encourage customers to visit a particular restaurant, Tucci and Talaga have found that the effect of such guarantees is mixed. For higher priced restaurants, there is some evidence that offering a guarantee increases the likelihood of customer selection, probably reflecting the greater financial commitment involved in choosing the expensive restaurant. So for lower priced restaurants, where one expects less acidic service, Richie the lager found that a guarantee could actually have a negative effect. That is, a potential customer might think that the restaurant offering a guarantee is worried about its service. Moreover, since customers understand the restaurant's product and know what to anticipate in terms of service, they have the power to question its quality. This is not generally true in the case of skilled activities such as electrical work, where consequently a guarantee might have greater customer appeal. So if we want to summarize our first paragraph, we'll say that it's talking about this guarantee. So offering guarantees. So it discusses the effect of a guarantee for restaurants and compares expensive restaurants, that is high end, and low end. So it just lists out how guarantees affect the customer perception of high-end restaurants versus low-end restaurants. And then here at the end, it says that this is different, often different for skilled work. So you already have now your first summary, and notice that it's just a very short summary. You don't have to write the specifics, as long as, of course, you read and understand. When you say the effect of guarantees in high end versus low end, you know where you'll find them. So you know they are maybe for high end it's positive, and for low end it's mostly or can actually be negative. So you just know that and note that mentally. But for your summary, just note what's the paragraph talking about. And then the second paragraph, for restaurants generally, the main benefit of a service guarantee probably lies not so much in customer appeal as in managing and motivating staff. So the staff would know what service standards are expected of them and know that the success of the business relies on the adherence to those standards. Additionally, guarantees provide some basis for defining the skills needed for successful service in areas traditionally regarded as unskilled, such as waiting tables. So now it offers, so again, it focuses on restaurants, and it says that these guarantees are not so much for the customer, so not so much for customer appeal, but for the staff. Because these guarantees, they kind of show whatever standards that is expected, and then now this staff should adhere to these standards. Also, because some of the staff in restaurants are waiters, which waiting tables is considered unskilled, the guarantees set some kind of standards that are needed for good services in those restaurants. So knowing that, now you connect this small summary to the summary for the first paragraph. So you find that this author talked about guarantees, how customers perceive guarantees. And then in the second paragraph, they now introduce the thought that for restaurants, the main benefit is not actually attracting customers or customer appeal, but staff. So when the guarantees are there, the staff now, they know the standards that they have to maintain. So, and once you know that, that's all. You have your passage map. It's just some words, I think it's like 10 or 15 words, and you are done. And the moment you find that you are writing down or noting down too much information, you know that you are not really summarizing. You're just writing down everything that you have.
You are watching Success with Bob Mwiti Show, presented to you by Upstack America. Upstack America is a consulting company that helps immigrants find amazing higher education and job opportunities in the tech industry in the United States. You can find our programs by going to www.upstackamerica.com. Upstack America, we wake you up to the unlimited potential.
Okay, so with that said, we can go on to solve our question. So first question is the primary purpose of the passage. So this is what we were saying is the main idea. So of course we know what the passage is about because of our passage map. So you know it's about guarantees and how they affect or how customers perceive it and how guarantees actually help restaurants in terms of staff standard. So with that, we can look at our answer choices using process of elimination. So A, question the results of a study that examined the effect of service quality guarantees in the restaurant industry. So first of all, question the results of a study. So you'll notice that in our passage map, there is no study at all. Nowhere that there is a study. So you can't really question the results of a study that wasn't there. A. B. Discuss potential advantages and disadvantages of service quality guarantees in the restaurant industry. So if you notice, this first paragraph can be summarized that way. Advantages and disadvantages of service quality guarantees. And then if you notice the second paragraph too, it's discussing another advantage of service guarantees, which is motivation of staff and employee staff standards. So B is actually summarizing or giving us the overall idea of the passage. So keep B. C, examine the conventional wisdom regarding the effect of service quality guarantees in the restaurant industries or in the restaurant industry. So first examine. So we can say that is examining, yes, but just hold on. So the conventional wisdom regarding the effect of service quality guarantees in the restaurant industry. So what is this conventional wisdom? There's nowhere that the author says that this is the norm or this is what actually happens. They just give views on how these service guarantees they affect the restaurant industry. So for that reason, C is not really the main purpose of the passage. D, argue that only certain restaurants will benefit from the implementation of service quality guarantees. So this would be true if you are looking at only the first paragraph, but the second paragraph actually doesn't differentiate between high-end and low-end restaurants. It's just in the restaurant industry. And the second paragraph actually shows how these guarantees can benefit a restaurant. Doesn't matter if it's high-end or low-end. So for that reason, this is not correct. We consider the impact that service quality guarantees have on the service provided by a restaurant. You'll notice that there's nowhere that the author says that these guarantees, they affect the service. But yes, the second paragraph may actually suggest that when these guarantees are there, you probably receive better service because it will motivate the staff and the staff will know the standards that are expected from them. But the first paragraph doesn't mention anything of that. The first passage is all about perception. So it's not really the service provided, it's perception. So this is just part of the passage. So you can say that this is just the idea of the second paragraph. So for that reason, we can eliminate B, and B is our answer. So I hope we will remember our passage map as we go on to the next question. So our question is, it can be inferred that the author of the passage would agree with which of the following statements about the appeal of service guarantees to customers. So the moment you see that the question is asking about how customers think of these service guarantees, you know that this information will be in the first paragraph. So this is an inference question, and our passage map has helped us know right away where to look for this information. So A, such guarantees are likely to be somewhat more appealing to customers of restaurants than to customers of other businesses. So you see, other businesses, you already know that it's the end of the first paragraph, because you remember these small points different from skilled work of other industries. So, and we know that this is here. So this is not generally true in the case of skilled activities. So what is this? You go now to the previous sentence. Moreover, since customers understand the restaurant's product and know what to anticipate in terms of service, they are empowered to question its quality. So meaning in restaurants, well, not really in restaurants, in these, say, not for lower priced restaurants, they question. But in high end, we know that they do not question. So such guarantees are likely to be somewhat more appealing to customers of restaurants. We know it's just low end restaurants, not all restaurants, and to customers of other businesses. Again, this is just skilled activities. You'll notice that it's not other businesses. So for that reason, we can eliminate A. It's not really correct. It may seem so at first, but it's just inferring partially what the author would agree to. And then such guarantees are likely to be more appealing to customers who know what to anticipate in terms of service. The sentence that we just read, since customers understand a restaurant's product and know what to anticipate in terms of service, they are empowered to question its quality. And our answer choice here says are likely to be more appealing. This was less appealing, that would be okay, but this is actually the opposite of what the passage says. Is out. See, such guarantees are likely to have less appeal in situations where customers are knowledgeable about a business's product or service. So this is exactly what this sentence here says. See, in situations where a high level of financial commitment is involved, a service guarantee is not likely to be very appealing. So again, this is the opposite, because we know that for higher priced restaurants, there is some evidence that offering a guarantee increases the likelihood of customer selection, probably reflecting a greater financial commitment involved in choosing an expensive restaurant. So we know that these guarantees have a more likelihood of the customers finding it appealing. So can I eliminate D? Okay, for our answer choice E, in situations where customers expect a high level of customer service, service guarantee is likely to make customers think that a business is worried about its service. So looking at this part, so for lower priced restaurants, a potential customer might think that a restaurant offering a guarantee is worried about its service. So here we are talking about lower priced restaurant where customers they expect less acid service, which if it's lower priced, we expect that this means that it's kind of a lower quality service. And that's why we were saying, do not focus on this difficult jargon. Even if you don't know what it means, just use the context to understand what it means. So they don't expect high quality service. So if there's a service guarantee, we would assume that the restaurant is worried about its service. But here we have situations where customers expect a high level of customer service. So this means that this E is flipping the restaurant and the effect of that service guarantee. So we eliminate E, pick our answer C. And then our last question, according to the passage, Tuchenta Lager found that service guarantees, when offered by lower priced restaurants, can have each of the following effects. So we know we are focusing from here to here. So A, customers developing unreasonably high expectations regarding service. So we know that the effect of these guarantees on lower priced restaurants is that actually the customers can start doubting the quality of this restaurant or its service. So you see here, potential customer might think that a restaurant offering is worried about its service. Then here again, they are empowered to question its quality. So customers developing unreasonably high expectations. That's not the case. B, customers avoiding such restaurants because they fear that the service guarantee may not be fully honored. So this seems good at first glance, but thinking about it, we see that they actually do not think that this service guarantee will be offered. You see, like the moment that they have offered this guarantee, they start doubting the service and they stop believing that this service is actually as good. So they won't go to the restaurant expecting the guarantee to be honored. So they won't fear that this service guarantee will not be honored. They may avoid going to that restaurant because they now suspect this service isn't to the expected quality. So for that, we can eliminate B. And then C, customers interpreting the service guarantee as a sign that management is not confident about the quality of service. We can see that here. A potential customer might think that a restaurant offering a guarantee is worried about its service. So if a restaurant is worried about its service, that will mean, of course, the management and the staff are worried about the service. So saying that is a sign that management is not confident about the quality of service. It says exactly what it says in our portion here. So we keep C. D, a restaurant's becoming concerned that its service will not be assiduous enough to satisfy customers. So remember that these lower priced restaurants, the customers already expect less assiduous service. So saying that a restaurant is concerned that its service will not be assiduous enough, and yet the customers, so where one expects, so the customer expects less assiduous service. So this doesn't really make sense because the customers know what they're getting a less assiduous service. So the restaurants, as a result of guarantees, do not become concerned that its service will not be assiduous enough. So for that reason, we can eliminate D. E, restaurants becoming concerned that customers will be more emboldened to question the quality of the service they receive. So we see that the customers, they are the one that question the quality of service that they receive. Here is the restaurant who is becoming concerned that the customer will be more inclined to question the quality of service they receive. So this addition here makes it wrong because we know that the customers will probably be more likely to question the quality of service that they receive. It's not the restaurant that will be concerned about that because the restaurant is actually giving the guarantee in hopes that the customer will actually be less inclined to question the quality of that service. So for that reason, we can eliminate C. And our answer is C. So I hope we've seen how easy a passage becomes once you map it out. Once you summarize the first paragraph, summarize the second paragraph, and then now you combine those two ideas to form yourself the main idea of the passage. So to help you understand the passage better, it will help you know where the detailed questions are sourced from, and also, of course, more importantly, you'll have the main idea of the passage. So that's it for our lesson today, and I'll see you in our next lesson. Bye.